Well, Steve just told me I've tried to kind of not look at Ken Pom and net this year, but this will be our first top 50 non-conference opponent in the last 7 years since Arizona. So I know it's the holidays. I know everybody's mad at us and me because we lost to New Mexico State in the pit. Correct, yeah. Are you in SID? Be quiet. But huge game, huge opportunity. The timing is always hard to schedule these games, but very grateful for VCU to play this game, to agree to a home and home. I think it's a quality opponent, a team that's picked to win the Atlantic 10. So I know everybody's got holiday parties and all that, but get to the pit on Wednesday. We need a great crowd, and it's an opportunity to, you want to stack as many quality wins as you possibly can. We have done that with UCLA. We've done that with USC, and we got another one in front of us, and that's why I wanted to challenge our guys. So great opportunity.
You guys look at old Utah State film, or are they doing things different?
No,
enough?
Yeah, I didn't watch that. I've watched the VCU stuff. There's some similarities to the way that they play, but way more what they're doing this year.
And Max Shula is a guy that, he was at Utah State. Lobo fans did get to see him play, but he seems to have developed over the last couple of years to a really, really good player. He was good then, but he's really good now. What do you guys need to do to defend him?
Yeah, he's exactly kind of the big guard that we've got to do a better job on. He's big, and he's always been big and strong, but he's just developed his game. I don't think he has a real weakness by any means. I believe he was going to go to Villanova. Something happened there and ended up going back to VCU. So he'll be one of the better players that we've gone against. So individually, collectively, need to do a good job on him.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit more? Other guys too, Bama still dropped 25 against Colorado State. We see out of him, and just kind of, what else they bring. Yeah,
I think they're equal scoring, talented, aggressive. They took some transfers, whether out of Michigan, Oklahoma, obviously Utah State, who are really tough to cover. The Colorado State game was a good look for us because we kind of understand Colorado State and what they do. And that was their last game. And it was a close game until the end, and then VCU pulled away. But there's matchup concerns and challenges all around, and that's to be understood when you're playing a really quality opponent like VCU.
I'm curious, from Saturday night, how you guys approach game film against a D2. You guys still break it down, I imagine. You don't not ignore it, but how do you approach what you're teaching them and sort of, is there anyone on the team that needs convincing that was a D2 team and maybe don't buy into it too much, or how do you handle it?
Yeah, I would be surprised if we have a big head from that game. Now, normally our post-game edits are about 13 minutes. They kind of make a couple director's cuts. I keep trimming them. I try really hard to keep the film short. That one was about, I think, 8 minutes. So shorter film. I would say traditionally we would, after a game like that with 2 games to prepare after, we would do skill work, free throws. High minute guys wouldn't do much, maybe free throws, but we had a normal practice yesterday. And the beauty of that game was being able to limit some minutes of guys who were high minute guys. So it was business as usual. We started that scout for VCU yesterday. But there were positives, regardless of who you play versus Western New Mexico, that we certainly wanted to illustrate as best we could.
Have the guys gotten the message, or are you still doing the early morning workouts?
No, we I think they understand the message. But no, we went at 11 o'clock yesterday, and we'll see. We're going to have 2 days of practice leading up, and then we'll do one more after VCU on Thursday, and then send everybody home. So you can go early, you cannot go early. It doesn't, it's on me to just be relentless on them as much as I possibly can.
You touched on this the other night, but it seems like coaching this team this year makes you more of a sports psychologist than an X's and O's type guy. Is that how much of that goes into coaching these guys, getting the message across?
Oh, that's every single year. Something that actually is really, really beneficial as a parent is I had coaching duties this weekend, but I also had parental duties, and I was able to go to Jack's game, and he's in 5th grade, and then I was able to go to Ava, had a couple volleyball games, and sitting with the parents really opens up a window into a world that you may not see as a basketball coach, and to see all that is put on these players' plates from the parents. Not to blame them. I don't want parents coming up to me at the game saying I'm blaming them, but it's all around. I'm hearing it, and I just chuckle at the amount of things that we are internally putting on our kids' plates outside of everything else. So there is a lot that is asked of them now more than ever. Social media, competitiveness of parents amongst each other because of social media. So yeah, I've been a sports psychologist for 13 years, practicing coach and sports psychologist for 13 years.
Coach, what do you have to do to beat VCU, and what are your biggest concerns about VCU?
I mean, to say there's one thing is very hard to do. I mean, it's just they're really talented, well coached. A program that's been to a Final Four, has high expectations. So for us, I mean, we got to do what we do. We got to compete for 40 minutes best we can. But they're really good. I mean, they're picked to win their league. They're a top 40, 50 team in the country. So there's no one thing, but it's just continue to learn from the first 11 and see if we can get some carryover.
Coach, question for you about free throw attempts. Nelly, Mustafa, and Donovan leading the team in free throw attempts. And then there's a drop-off coming to CJ and True. They're 4th and 5th in minutes on the team. And I think CJ coming in 29 free throw attempts on the season, True 23. Are there more opportunities for them to attack the basket and get to the line?
Yeah, they got to be better at it. They got to go make plays. They got to, within the flow of the offense. We've always been a pretty high free throw attempt team. But yeah, I mean, it's just about attacking the rim and getting fouled and putting pressure on the defense. So True and CJ are playing enough minutes to be higher. I don't know the exact attempt. I know like Phillip and his playing time went down, but I think he's 0 for 3, which is obviously really, really bad. So all those guys all around are playing too many minutes to have those limited attempts.
Coach, you talk about that relentless approach. Is that something you've had to do before with the team in your career, or is this sort of new for you? With this group?
There's new challenges in every single team, and now more than ever because of the portal, you're going to have a new team every single year. And to say relentless approach, like every team I've been on, I've tried to be relentless. There's just different ways to do it. You can yell and scream. You could be like Tony Bennett, who doesn't yell and scream. There are a million different ways to skin a cat. I think the point is some teams have more self-starters, some do not. And I think with this team, again, not yelling and screaming. You don't need to do that. But I need to be all over them on a lot of things. But every team, I mean, that's my job. That's why I get paid.
Coach, you talked about Braden on Saturday, but I know we're going to talk to him today. Just kind of talk about what you've seen out of him and his uptick and knocking down shots.
Yeah, just making shots. Really surprised when he misses, which is a great luxury to have. Got hit in the nose pretty bad last game. Fought through it. Showed great toughness. Very, very consistent with his approach every single day. He doesn't have a bad practice. Never has a bad attitude. Just committed to it, and it's that's cool to see. That's becoming more and more rare now than ever before, where guys stick it out when they don't play instead of just transferring. So that's very rewarding as a coach when you see that.
And you talked about like the competition of the parents and stuff and social media. I'm just curious, are you succumbing to that with your kids? And do you, in the stands, yell at the coaches when you're at their game?
No, I don't. And by the way, our parents are good. Now maybe the assistants deal with them. Like, they're all great. It's not like a specific set of parents. I just think because of social media, and just the culture has changed, everybody thinks they're coaches. everybody thinks they're coaches. Oh, I coached my son at a second grade birthday party, so now I'm a coach. Like, we're okay, great. So it's not like one specific parent, but I just sit there, and even my wife does it. I look at her like, you're a coach's wife, and you're saying these stupid things right now, like she's like, well, don't you think Jack's good? I'm like, not particularly. I mean, he's 10 years old. So I just think it's the culture all around. It's not one specific group. I think it all starts with social media. Comparison is the thief of joy, and we're all comparing our kids to everybody. We're just obsessed with it. And then the parents are caring more about winning a game, an irrelevant game. Like, I'm like, does this game mean anything? But they get their competitive juices going in the stands. And I don't know. I just look at it differently because I'm a coach. But it is funny to see it and then be like, I wonder what the parents are saying about me. Because we're looking at it from a lens of, I'm watching just my son or my daughter. And I do the same thing. So it's not just our parents. It's not just the community of Albuquerque. It is everywhere. And so, yeah, it's a challenge, but everybody has challenges in their jobs.
Coach, you said at the outset you're grateful to have VCU coming at this time to play this game in the pit. What would it mean to have a big crowd against VCU for this one on Wednesday?
I don't know. We seem to be losing a lot of games in front of big crowds, so maybe let's have the 4,000 that showed up versus Western New Mexico. It's everything, and it devastates me. I mean, I look back at year 2. We had UNLV, whiteout, amazing opportunity. We lost. I think in year 3 we had Boise State, amazing crowd, and we lost. Air Force was, I think, over 14,000, and we lost. And then New Mexico State. So, we're thinking about the bad ones. There's so many good ones that we've had that are great. But yeah, I mean, I know it's the holidays. I think that college basketball needs to figure out the non-conference, and they need to be, everybody needs to be more willing to be aggressive with scheduling. And you're seeing it. It's more and more now than ever. But I think the better home-and-home opportunities versus these neutral site games are better for college basketball. And when you have a fan base like this, yeah, you want a big crowd, even though it's around the holidays for sure.
A couple follow-ups to things that were just asked. As far as you watching a kid's basketball game, there's not times where you're like, why would you call that? You never question the coaching?
Never. What are you going to run? They can't dribble. They can hardly make a free throw. They can hardly run up and down the court. What the hell are they going to run? No. Play them all. Have a good attitude. Be happy that they're out instead of on their iPads. Be appreciative of the coaches who don't make any money coaching it. So, no, I've never once. Not at this level. Maybe if they get a little older.
I was going to say, what level is it okay to start calling the coach, names and
No,
yelling?
I mean, for me, it's about, I mean, I don't know. It's hard because, for one, I understand they're not getting paid. Jack's coach is a periodontist named Pitino, who I love. He's one of my best friends. He's not a basketball coach. He's great. Played football. He thinks he's a basketball coach. Thinks he's a ref. He has no idea what he's talking about, and we love him. So I don't know. I mean, my whole thing as a parent, I just want my kid treated with somewhat respect, but I also want them pushed. There's a fine line there. So I want adversity, but I want it within somewhat of the lines of whatever it is. But to me, it's become harder and harder. It's hard for them too, the coaches. And the parents don't see it, but I think it's everywhere.
Does this transfer over, this philosophy where you understand not to be as critical of the coaches, that transfer over to other walks of life? You're not as critical of chefs. You read an article, you don't think the reporter's an idiot? I
mean, I think, yeah, I do think that there's something to. I mean, chefs would be a weird thing. I just want to be fed at an appropriate time. I'm not real critical of what the food is. But yeah, I mean, I'm really not trying to crap on parents. But what it is it's really good that I see all the external things that are being put on the player's plate to go along with what I'm putting on their plate and the coaching staff. So I believe I'm always empathetic. Do I want to do 3 press conferences a week? No, but I know you guys got jobs, and I'm trying to help you out. I'd like to not do any of them, but I am, out of the kindness of my heart, doing these things for you guys.
All right, Braden, follow up. I'll get off the other subject.
I could crap on parents all day if you want.
All right, so Braden is a guy. Well, first of all, how's he doing with Patrick Mahomes' injury? Have you talked to him yet?
No, so we practiced during the game, and it was 21-7, and he kept kind of walking to the other side to look at Peyton's TV there. I was going to text him last night to crap on him about it, but the Giants are a disaster, so I'm not saying anything to him. But hopefully it's nothing serious with Mahomes.
All right, so on the court with Braden, he's your 3-point shooter, and we get that. How much does he have to go inside the arc and offensively for your liking, and is that just to offset, like, so they know he can do it, or do you think he's capable of
I think
maybe
he's
going in the
capable of
lane?
it. I don't remember the game, but he had one recently. I think it was New Mexico State where he drove it, got a left-handed layup. I just want them to play basketball. Braden obviously is a great threat. But you got to be a complete player, and if guys are, like, even the game New Mexico State, we ran kind of a play for him in the corner to get a shot. It was 3.8 seconds on the clock. He could have easily shot faked it. I mean, it ended in a goaltend, so it didn't matter. But, play like the guy who everybody's going to say, we don't want him to attempt it, so your shot fake's got to be better. He can get into the lane, and he's a good playmaker, and he's got good size. But utilize the strength of being a feared shooter to your advantage.
Coach, talk to us a little bit about the impact of Donovan Dent. He's had a great season so far, and how important is he going to be in this matchup going up against VCU?
I think he's had a good season so far. I think if you asked him, he wouldn't say he's had a great season. I think he'd look at that New Mexico State game and say he has to be better. I mean, I think everybody, coaches, players, everybody would say they have to be better. But Donovan is obviously a very, very important piece. There is a lot being thrown on his plate. And that's, there's the beauty of this becoming semi-pro sports. There's a lot of benefits, but there's also a lot that's being thrown on college-age kids. Donovan is highly touted, and there's a lot that goes with that. And, so I think if you ask Donovan, he'd say he's had a solid non-conference. I don't know if it's been amazing. And he's working hard, and I think he understands in order for our team to be good, he's not the only one, but he certainly needs to play better than he did versus Mexico State.
Coach, you talked last press conference and then here today that you have to play the role of a sports psychologist sometime. And you said last press conference that this team, more than any other team you've coached, needs that kick in the butt. Who are the vocal leaders in the locker room right now? And with the challenges with the transfer portal, I mean, you have guys here for 1 to 2 years. Is there a challenge to having a permanent locker room leader in this day in college basketball?
We were walking down the steps before the shoot around, and Jovan, they'd had graduation, and Jovan had asked me, is this where I'm going to graduate? And it was such a nice thing. I was like, oh my God, you're actually thinking about graduating from here? Like, you're not thinking about jumping in the portal right now? It was so like a naive comment by him, and I was like stunned when he said it. I was like, yeah, if you're here in 4 years, like, this is, it was awesome. But yes, you try to, as a coach, I think now more than ever, it's going to be every year. Everybody's going to transfer until things change, and it's disappointing, but that's the rules. So it's very important that I paint a picture of what I want, what I believe the standards to winning are. We've won 48 games in the last 2 years. We've been to 2 postseasons. We've won a championship. This is what's going to do it again as best you can. Everybody has different leadership qualities to them. You're not seeing as many rah-rah loud guys as maybe when I first started, and that's fine. There's a million different ways to do it. But just getting everybody collectively to understand what the standard is and holding everybody accountable is huge.